Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Shared Sanctuary. For those of you returning, for those of you that are new, I'm really happy to have you here, and I'm glad that you found this space. I had a really interesting conversation this week with somebody that really resonated with me because it reminded me a lot of my dating and relationship history. And the question was, why are our expectations not met in early dating or in the early throes of getting to know someone? Very simply, it's because we take 5% of the information we know about someone early on and we plug the other 95% with what we think, the stories we tell ourselves. Now, it can work two ways, positively and negatively. So let's start with positive. And what I mean by positive is when we're trying to plug that 95% of information that we don't have, we've only had a very little bit of factual information, whether that's from what they've said to us or what we've seen. The brain and our nervous system doesn't like uncertainty. So we start to fill the gaps of information we don't have with potentially positive bias. Now, what I mean by that is you could be on a date with somebody and they may be very well dressed, super articulate. They tell you they have their own business. And that's 5% of the fact. We then start to plug it with, oh, they've got their own business, therefore they're driven, they're disciplined, they're ambitious, they've got their life together, they're well dressed, they must look after themselves. When in fact, all we know is they turned up well dressed, they say they have their own business. For all we know, they may be in the business of saying they have a business. But we plug the 95% we don't know with what we'd like it to be, with stories that we tell ourselves. Now, in the flip side of that, we can do it with negativity bias. So, depending on what your relationship history or dating history looks like, sometimes we can project or apply fear to how somebody behaves. And again, let me give you an example. You go on a date, you have a great time, you return home, the next day you might send them a message and you don't hear back from them immediately. So, what negativity bias looks like when we're talking about projection and fear is that because they don't reply in our what we call our reasonable time frame, they don't like us, they're not interested, they're seeing other people. And all of a sudden, we are telling ourselves a story, building a picture of somebody that is based on what we're assuming, what our brain is telling us, and we are holding on to that and we are running with it. Now, in the first example of positivity bias, where we start to idealize somebody based on the very little bit of information we have, you can see how that very quickly could transpire into our expectations not being met and somebody not turning out the way that we expected them to. Now, it's not their fault because actually we've applied stories where information is lacking. Now, I'm going to give you a piece of advice and I'll hold your hand through this one. Don't attach your feelings or how you see somebody based on the stories you've told yourself. Attach your feelings to what that person has shown you factually. It will save you a lot of disappointment, a lot of confusion, and you will have a better chance of finding the right person for you. I'll be back with more content. I would urge you guys to drop me comments on the things that, any questions that you might have, anything that's bothering you, any cycles that you find yourself repeating in life. Let me know in the comments. And I will promise to align my videos, content, to what people are asking or what people want to know so that you guys are getting the help and the insight that is most helpful to you. I'd ask you to subscribe, comment and share so I can come back again with more video content, but also so we can reach other people out there that might need to hear something. Because the whole reason the Shared Sanctuary Collective exists is that we share our stories, we share our learning, and each one help one. Until then, guys, look after yourself. and I'll see you real soon.